Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today, presented by Capital One. Fun slate of games coming up this afternoon for week number 4. Cardinals at Panthers. Let's go Christian McCaffrey. Patriots at Packers. See what the Patriots offense looks like with Brian Hoyer under center. And will the Broncos ride against the Raiders trying to get their first win? Very excited to see those games coming up later today for week number 4. Break it down for us here on Fantasy Football Today. It's Pete Prisco, Todd Fuhrman, Kenny White, the best in the business to help you win some money when it comes to making some picks. And gentlemen, let's start with that game in Carolina. Cardinals at Panthers. Panthers are 1-point favorites. The over-under 43.5. Todd, as always, first word to you. How do you see this game unfolding?
For me, gentlemen, I'm going to be on the Carolina Panthers here. Obviously, we're going to watch to see Christian McCaffrey's status. Even if he can't go, I still like Carolina in this spot, and it has more to do with what Arizona isn't doing early on in the season. So much of the way you have to attack this Carolina defense is being able to run the football between the tackles and keep some of their extra defensive backs in to try and assist there. Arizona hasn't shown the ability with a banged-up offensive line and running backs that, quite frankly, really lack burst. You look at Kyler Murray, he's still not on the same page as some of his receiver options. I know Rondale Moore will make his season debut, but not having A.J. Green is a big loss, especially as Arizona gets into tight territory with potential red zone possessions that lurk. Baker Mayfield hasn't been great. I think he'll continue to build rapport with his receiving group, and I just like Carolina's defense a lot better. I'll look for the Panthers to string together back-to-back wins. I'll take them at the modest number -1.
Yeah, Todd, complete agreement, and, for a lot of the same reasons. Number one's the defense. I've got Carolina's defense ranked 10th in the NFL. I think that stop unit's outstanding. Where Arizona, and as I mentioned before the year, it's funny, when Cliff Kingsbury got the job, I had Arizona's defense top 10. Since he's been there, they've just declined each and every year, and now 32nd in the league. Worst in the league, and their passing game is the worst in the league. 5.1 yards a pass. Even the Bears average more yards, 5.2 yards a pass than the Arizona Cardinals, which is completely unbelievable. So Carolina's offense, Christian McCaffrey, I've seen him probable now. He's playing today, so that's going to be a big plus for Carolina. Baker Mayfield needs to get it going, though. He's off to a slow start. At least he's protecting the football. Got to pick up his accuracy and his yards per pass, but I think he can do that today against a very weak Arizona defense.
I'm going to take Carolina as well. I don't love this game, but when I look at this Arizona team, they are struggling in all facets of the game, and I just don't see how they're going to move the ball consistently against this defense. Carolina's not great on offense either, but I think this is going to be one of those games where Carolina finds a way, and let's face it, the loser of this game could be in trouble as a coach. And I know Kingsbury got the extension, but my gosh, they're supposed to be better than this.
Yeah, a lot of things on the line here. I think the one thing I want to see from what Kingsbury said is get James Conner the ball involved. Get James Conner involved a little more, get him the ball a little bit more. Do that in the passing game. That'll make easy throws for Kyler Murray, and we'd like to see Kyler Murray run the ball a little bit more. But Conner is in play once again as a number 2 running back. Hopefully he finds the end zone like he did in week number 1. Let's talk about the Patriots and the Packers. Brian Hoyer taking over for the injured Mac Jones. The Packers getting some production last week from their receiving corps with Romeo Doubs. They are 9.5-point favorites at home here. The over-under is 40. So, Todd, which way are we going with this one?
This isn't an easy bet to make necessarily, gentlemen, but I'm going to take the underdog here and grab those generous points with New England. And I think a lot of this handicap is predicated on one thing. It's New England's ability to run the football against that sometimes soft interior of the Green Bay defense. And when you look at the Packers against a team like the Chicago Bears, they gave up 180 yards rushing and nearly 7 yards per carry. They struggled against the Vikings, and while they were stout last week against Tampa, I think that had more to do with Tampa's offensive line ineptitude than anything Green Bay has done in the trenches. Meanwhile, New England knows their key to success here is shortening the game, letting Brian Hoyer operate off of play action a bit. And I also think New England defensively is going to see this as a bit of a step down in class from what they had to encounter last week against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to call for an outright upset. I know Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers have been a tough team to beat at Lambeau during the 3+ years they've been together. But I think this is a big price tag, and it wouldn't shock me if Green Bay wins the game, just doesn't cover the point spread at 9.5.
Wow, Todd, that's going out, really going out. I mean, without Mac Jones, a drop off to Brian Hoyer, a 4.5-point drop. And Bill Belichick's done it again. I said before the year, his roster was not very good. I thought his roster may have been 25th or 26th best in the NFL. But yet after 3 weeks, 8th best in passing, 16th on defense. He just continues to overachieve, Bill Belichick. But when you lose your star player, you're going on the road to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur and their stats and their numbers, they don't look great. Their defense ranked 20th right now in the league in yards per play allowed, but this defense is far better than that. And Matt LaFleur's really, his game plan, get out, get the lead, cruise, get out of Dodge, and get on to the next week. And I think he's going to be able to do that. And I don't think New England will have the firepower to get back into this game. So I think it's all Green Bay all day today.
I'll take the Packers as well. If this Patriots team was coached by anybody else but Bill Belichick, they'd probably be a 12, 13-point underdog. It's just backup quarterback, tough situation. I know the Packers haven't been great on offense, but I do think we're starting to see little bits and pieces of them coming together. Defensively, I think they'll limit what the Patriots do. So I'll take the Packers minus the points, and I usually hate laying big numbers like that.
It's going to be an interesting game. The Patriots will probably try and take away Allen Lazard, try and take away the running backs. Can Aaron Rodgers find some success with the rookie receivers? Can he find some success with Robert Tonyan? I think Tunyan's a good sleeper this week. I do think that if the line holds and the Patriots are playing from behind and the Packers are playing with the lead, A.J. Dillon in the fourth quarter could be very, very important. I think he finds the end zone in this matchup as well. Let's go now to the Broncos at the Raiders. Again, the Raiders are looking for their first win. Broncos coming off the win last week against the 49ers. The line here is the Raiders minus 2.5, the over-under 45. Which way are we looking at this one, Todd?
I'm going to go under the total here, guys. I think Denver's a team still trying to figure out what their offensive identity is going to be with Russell Wilson. Clearly, he hasn't looked fully comfortable leading Nathaniel Hackett's offense, at least through the first 3 weeks. But thankfully for the Broncos, they've been able to lean on a defense, and that sparked a win against the Houston Texans week 2, and they followed it up with a stout defensive performance last week against the San Francisco 49ers. Meanwhile, for this Raiders team, we saw Derek Carr's infatuation with his new weapon in Davante Adams week 1. But if you dig into some of the numbers, the expected points added when he targets Davante Adams don't even rival that of him getting Matt Collins involved. I know everybody here in Vegas is calling this a desperation game. Your season's hanging in the balance at 0-3. I just don't trust this Raiders offense to go out there and put up points in bunches. I think they're a little bit underrated on the defensive side. And when I look at this game and my breakdown, given the familiarity and everything else, it wouldn't shock me if it took just 21 points to win at Allegiant Stadium today. I'm going to go under the total in the mid-40s.
I'm going to play the Raiders here today. I think that, the 0-3, the desperation, they're a team that really should be 2-1 right now. They played a very tough beginning schedule. Denver, I think, has been fortunate. 2-1. They could probably be 1-2 very easily. Offensively, and that's what we've got in the NFL these days, is an offensive football. I think at home, if this game was in Denver, I probably wouldn't be backing the Raiders. But since it's at home, I'm not sure if that Denver defense will be able to travel and stop the Raiders today. Interesting matchup, Surtain against Adams. Last 2 weeks, Adams just 5 catches, 44 yards after that big week 1. I think you're going to see a lot of Davante today. I think Carr has a big day. I took the Raiders in the first half -1 and also at 2.5 for the game.
I'm with you, Kenny. I think this is a great spot for the Raiders. And desperation does factor in. If their season's basically over if they lose this game, and there's something to be playing for when you know that in the back of your head. You are at home, and it's not like the Denver offense has been very good. Russell Wilson hasn't been very good. I mean, let's be real. Everybody wants to point to Nate Hackett. He hasn't done a great job either. But Russell Wilson, you're a veteran quarterback making a boatload of money. Pick up your game.
What do you think is the issue? Is it the offensive line? Is it Russell Wilson? Is it not having Jerry Jeudy for half of a game? I mean, what's the problem with Russell?
A, B, C, and D. I mean, all of it. And the play calling hasn't been great either. I think there's been, in each game, there's been something. But Russell Wilson has to elevate himself above that.
The soft landing spot, though. This Raiders defense not very good.
No,
Rocky Sin is now out as well, so it could be an opportunity for Russell Wilson to get right. I think he does. I like him as a fantasy starter this week. I haven't said that very much over the last 2 weeks. Chiefs at the Buccaneers. The Sunday night game should be a fun one. We'll see if the Bucs get all of their receivers back. That's the expectation, that Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage all going to play with Mike Evans back after the suspension. The Chiefs, they're 1-point road underdogs, and the over-under is 46. So, Todd, what do we like in this one?
You know what, Jamie, I like the Bucs in this spot, but I am skeptical that all of those receivers will be healthy. When you look at Tampa upgrading Cole Beasley, it tells me that they're obviously building in a contingency plan, that all their pieces may not be ready to go. But more importantly for Tampa in this particular spot is the defense that I want to lean on here. Kansas City was a tough luck loser last week against the Indianapolis Colts. They were done in by their own special teams miscues. But at the same time, this Chiefs offense right now is lacking the big play potential. We've seen the too high safety shell. We've seen teams really try and key on Patrick Mahomes, making them dink and dunk, moving the football down the field methodically. And you haven't seen much of a ground game to lean on either. I'm not sure this Bucs run defense is nearly as stout as what we've seen in the past, but I think in this game it'll be serviceable enough. I like Tampa to get a big win under the bright lights down there tonight against the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm going to go over the total, and I feel like everybody's questionable, these receivers. I think they all come back, and they do. Hopefully they'll stay healthy and be able to play the entire game. That'll be a big boost to Tom Brady. The offense 29th right now in the NFL. We know they're far, far better than that. The injuries have taken a toll, but with everybody back, they're right there in the top 5, I think, in the NFL. So I think they put up points here in this game. I think Kansas City's defense has been kind of, they've been really overachieved so far, actually, in my opinion. Number 4 right now in yards per play allowed. I think they're about an average defense. I think you'll see Kansas City's offense pick it up as well. They have to make adjustments. They know Andy Reid's smart enough. I think it's a shootout with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to take the Chiefs. I worry about the Bucs offensive line. We talk about the wide receivers, and everybody focuses on who's there and who's not there. Well, who isn't there is their offensive line, and those guys have been having problems, and that's why Brady struggled. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win this game.
The guy I'm nervous about for Kansas City is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The run defense for Tampa Bay has still been amazing. Last week we saw 7 carries, no yards. He did score a touchdown. He's been involved in the passing game, which is nice, with 5 catches last week. But if Clyde does not score, that's kind of been helping him through the first 3 weeks of the season. Could be a little frustrating. All right, you want to win money? Follow these guys. Pick your favorite analyst, and they will lead you to the promised land. You see they all like the Panthers. They differ a little bit on the Packers and Patriots. Kenny and Pete like the Raiders there. Todd likes the under. And the Bucs, they differ in terms of Todd and Pete. Kenny likes the under. Excuse me, likes the over now.
Caution, I am coming off a dreadful, horrible,
But you're having a good season,
nasty
though.
week.
You're having a good season.
Yeah, but I got to call myself out when I.
So's Todd, so's Kenny. That's why they're the best. That's why they're here with us on Fantasy Football Today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.